Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into literally one of the darkest, most heavily censored military mysteries of 1986. We're talking about the complete vanishing of Agent Black. It's this wild story drawn entirely from leaked reports and insider claims, involving a highly classified mission, a frozen remote landscape, and an elite operative who just disappeared without a single trace. Let's jump right into the facts as the sources present them. Okay, so let's set the scene here. The year is 1986. According to the source material, a highly trained American intelligence officer disappeared during a classified mission deep in Alaska. The stakes are immediately massive because absolutely no body was ever found. Zero official explanations were given to the public, and, according to leaked reports, the US government pretty much went in and erased most records connected to the entire case. Some sources think he was just killed in action, while others theorize he found something he was never, ever supposed to see. But former military insiders, they claim the truth is way more terrifying than just a covert casualty. So, you might be wondering who actually vanished. Well, we only know him by his classified code name, Agent Black. The rumors and leaked reports paint a very clear picture of this guy. He handled covert operations tied directly to secret military projects during the peak of the Cold War. He wasn't just some average agent. He was considered one of the CIA's absolute best field operatives. Sources describe him as silent, highly intelligent, and extremely dangerous. Basically, this was the exact guy you'd send in when a situation went totally off the books and completely out of control.
And the location here is absolutely crucial. In October of 1986, reports state Agent Black was deployed to a remarkably remote area, deep inside the frozen mountains of Alaska, to an abandoned radar station. Now, the specific details of this mission were, and honestly still remain, heavily classified. Even today, official documents about this exact coordinate and time frame are firmly sealed under government lock and key. But the leaked stories give us this really chilling picture of the setting, a completely isolated, freezing environment where something had obviously gone very, very wrong.
So, what exactly went wrong out there? Let's look at the baseline events that kicked this whole thing off. Soldiers stationed near this abandoned base started reporting a really bizarre string of anomalies. We're talking strange lights in the sky, severe radio interference, and critical equipment just going missing from secure areas. But the absolute most disturbing part? They reported seeing unidentified figures walking right outside the perimeter of the base late at night. At first, military commanders completely dismissed it. It was the Cold War, so they naturally just blamed enemy spies probing their defenses. But man, it did not stop there. The situation escalated incredibly fast. It went from weird anomalies to a full-blown crisis. After those day one reports of unidentified figures, things took a really dark turn. By day 14, 3 soldiers totally vanished. The reports say there were no footprints leading away, no blood, absolutely no sign of a struggle, just their abandoned rifles sitting right there in the snow. Missing equipment is one thing, right? But missing men, that's a completely different ballgame. And that's exactly when the CIA allegedly stepped in. The very next day, day 15, they deploy their best. Agent Black goes in alone. Which brings us to arguably the most heavily scrutinized piece of this entire mystery, Agent Black's final radio broadcast. This one transmission basically became the cornerstone of this whole dark legend. A former communications officer who eventually came forward said the final message was logged at exactly 2:13 a.m. And this officer noted that, at first, Agent Black sounded completely calm and professional, totally in line with his elite training. But then, completely out of nowhere, his entire demeanor shifted. That calm professional voice disappeared and was replaced by heavy, panicked breathing. And then, he delivered this exact quote: "There's someone here, but it's not human." Take a second and just think about the sheer level of terror it would take to pull those words out of a guy whose entire career was built on handling the absolute most dangerous, high-pressure situations on Earth. A guy trained for literally anything, telling his command that whatever was inside that base with him defied all explanation. The audio aftermath of that chilling sentence was rapid, and it was horrifying. According to leaked accounts of that 2:13 a.m. recording, literally seconds after he said those words, incredibly loud static just hijacked the frequency. Cutting right through that static were the unmistakable sounds of gunshots, then screaming, and finally, complete silence. That sudden, hyper-violent audio sequence marks the exact moment Agent Black just vanished from history. And to put into perspective just how inexplicably bizarre the aftermath was, let's look at what happened next. Heavily armed rescue teams show up the next morning expecting a firefight. Instead, what they found was physically impossible. They expected bodies, the soldiers, Agent Black, someone. They found a completely empty base, 0 bodies. They expected an undamaged station. Instead, witnesses say the heavy metal doors were completely melted from extreme localized heat. Intact equipment? Nope. They found equipment literally fused directly into the solid walls. And perhaps the most chilling detail, instead of tracks leading away from the base, they found footprints that just stopped dead in the snow. Like someone had quite literally vanished into thin air. What allegedly follows is a huge systemic silencing of the entire event. According to the sources, the military kicked off a ruthless, immediate cover-up. Step 1, they permanently sealed the area. No one goes in or out. Step 2, geographical maps were reportedly altered to wipe the site from existence, and official mission documents just vanished from the archives. Step 3, any personnel connected to the mission, the comms, or the rescue teams were immediately transferred out. A lot of former soldiers later claimed they had to sign incredibly strict, lifetime secrecy agreements. Others were just so utterly terrified they completely refused to talk about it. But, as you know, it's pretty much impossible to erase everything. Years later, conspiracy investigators poring over obscure leftover references found a name buried deep in the files. A highly classified operation called Project North Star. Now, the name itself doesn't give much away, but it really became the key to understanding why Agent Black was out there and what he actually walked into. Because nobody officially knows what Project North Star was, the leaked insider rumors basically split into 3 main theories. The first is that it was some kind of highly experimental, possibly unstable military technology. The second theory is that the government actually made a physical discovery buried deep under those mountains. And the third, and definitely the most ominous theory pushed by some insiders, is that whatever they found down there was ancient and fundamentally highly dangerous. Now, as an explainer of these sources, we're just looking at these claims neutrally. But no matter which theory you lean toward, they all point to something massive that the government desperately wanted to keep hidden. And the wildest part? The story doesn't actually end in 1986. There is this incredibly creepy, lingering anomaly tied to the abandoned station. Several former military workers who served in the wider region years later claim the base isn't entirely dead. They say that late at night, highly distorted, really weak radio messages still occasionally broadcast from those exact empty coordinates, cutting right through the atmospheric static. In fact, one retired operator who listened to these anomalous signals claims that sometimes a voice actually breaks through all that static and just repeats a single sentence over and over. Don't let them find you. Talk about terrifying. A repeating broadcast coming from a completely frozen, abandoned place where no living person is supposed to be. So, what does this all mean for us today? Well, we have to look at the official stance. To this day, the US government has never released an official explanation. The CIA entirely denies the story even exists and won't even acknowledge the codename Agent Black. The military uniformly refuses to discuss the Alaskan base at all. So, Agent Black remains one of America's most disturbing hidden mysteries. Because if these leaked reports hold even a fraction of the truth, something happened out there powerful enough to scare the CIA into absolute silence. Which really just leaves us with this one final thought. What if America's most secret military mission uncovered something that was never meant to be found? I want you to take that away and just ponder the terrifying possibilities of what might still be sitting down there, hidden beneath the Alaskan ice. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.